After spending 3 years immersed in the theoretical parts of the professional system, it became essential to find out the class of each student. Lu Yun, the principal of Yiyi First Academy, welcomed his students with open arms. He hoped that they would all reach a level comparable to the infamous Afoxing, an alumnus of the institution, who rose to the status of a level 80 holy mage. Our protagonist, Lin Moyu, reflects on himself, giving readers a peek into his background. His name, Lin Moyu, means his reincarnation into this chaotic realm. This world is filled with dungeons, magic, monsters, and perhaps most notably helpless maidens that decorate the story. In essence, it resembles an RPG. Ever since getting used to this environment, he has patiently waited for the revelation of his profession. After getting a class designation, however, this expectation is not always certain. In this world, society's function depends a lot on the many sages who have created safe living spaces for the people. The setup keeps conflicts away from regular businesses and neighborhoods. Among the different types of classes individuals can choose from, combat-focused ones are the most popular, closely followed by support types. These classes fall into 5 distinct tiers: low, medium, high, rare, and legendary. However, the chances of finding a legendary class are very low. In fact, some areas might not see one appear for an entire decade. While Lin is lost in thought, the principal activates the transmutation circle meant to determine a person's class. Gao Yang, Lin's classmate, comes up to ask him about the class he wants to achieve. Although Lin looks like a cool and edgy main character, he decides not to answer. Other students warn Gao not to engage with Lin, saying he thinks he's better than everyone else. Yet, the insightful Gao claims he is an empath and understands that Lin just doesn't want to talk too much. As the two students gathered, the principal recognized Zhang Qiuan, a remarkable level 52 formation master. Once this interaction was done, he turned back to the students and instructed them that after an aim was called, the individual should step into the transmutation circle. Students were called. One got the farmer profession, while another became a chef. As they got closer to finishing the list, the staff started to think about the disappointing turnout of professions. None of the students had even secured a rare class. Next up was Jie Xu, who, along with Lin, was known as one of the Academy's 2 prodigies. However, she secretly saw Lin as her rival. When the strong female lead neared the circle, Zhang noticed her impressive potential, which was due to her mental strength. And when she stepped onto the circle, as Lin got closer to the circle, the principal asked Zhang for his thoughts on the boy. However, he saw little potential. When Lin reached the circle, he found himself surrounded by a threatening aura and a dazzling light show. It sliced through the sky in a fierce way, creating a scene that left the crowd confused as the temperature quickly dropped to a chilling level. Zhang realized that this phenomenon was a transformation vision of great importance. In the midst of the chaos, a student yelled that he saw something in the dark clouds. An army of glowing skeletons appeared, moving in an organized way. This was definitely not an ordinary profession. Lin had achieved the unique hidden class of necromancer. Being in a unique class meant that Lin was the only necromancer in existence. Furthermore, it was a rarer profession than the legendary class. His classmates showed different reactions to this news. Most were shocked and felt some jealousy. As Lin left the circle, Zhang came up to him, asking for a demonstration of his class's powers. After looking closely, it was clear that Lin was at level 1. His attributes were Strength 10, Agility 10, Spirit 20, and Physique 10. He had a summoning ability of 10, which was specifically for his Summon Skeleton Warrior skill. This skill still seemed like it could be upgraded from its current state, Black Iron. Also, he had another skill called Soul Blaze. This skill burned the target's soul and caused burning damage. Its effectiveness depended on the user's spirit and skill level. Lin then summoned one of his skeleton warriors, which had 15 in strength, 15 in agility, 15 in spirit, and 15 in physique, although it didn't have any skills of its own. Zhang shot a beam of light that only barely touched the skeleton. At that moment, Lin got a notification asking if he wanted to counterattack. Zhang thought about how the skeleton showed no fear of the differences in their stats and would fight anyone without thinking twice. There is no doubt that, because of this interaction, his summons could eventually become powerful beings in the future. The event had officially concluded. The principal reminded his students that tomorrow the dungeon of Yiyi City would be available for use. They would need to level up quickly to try and achieve a high enough level to be considered by different academy. However, with this info, Jie immediately approached Lin, proposing a competition to level up. She will have better results tomorrow, but it remains to be seen how effective her strategy will be. And upon returning home, Lin gazes at a collection of family photographs. He yearns to enroll in the same esteemed academy where his sister is currently studying. However, his reverie is interrupted by a knock at the door. Is Principal Lu Yun, who has come to deliver supplies for Lin. He had promised Lin's sister that he would look after him after she consented to attend Jiajing Academy. The principal advises Lin to rest up before an arduous day of dungeon raiding awaits him tomorrow. But as Lu Yun departs, an intriguing system notification materializes. It indicates that, because he has awakened the necromancer profession, after a brief pause, a notification window surfaces, extending congratulations for his awakening of the unique god-level talent overall increase. Upon examining these new abilities, to better understand the overall increased skill, he summons one of his skeletons. While examining it, he notices that all its stats have been boosted by 5 times. However, this raises some questions. Although the increase is impressive, he wonders about the limits. But he feels a sense of excitement because this could change everything for him. The next day, the class shows up at the novice-level dungeon, feeling both eager and anxious. While they wait for instructions, Jiao, with a bit of excitement, asks Lin if he wants to form a party. Finally, finding his voice, the principal, watching the conversation, mentions that anyone without a combat class with a rare or higher rating should really look for a party instead of trying to tackle the dungeon alone. And Lin, however, insists that he wants to go solo, aiming to get to a level where he can enroll in Zhejiang Academy. Upon hearing this, the principal asks if Lin really grasps the challenges he'll face. He'll need to reach at least level 12, level 15 would be better for extra safety before the final trial. All of this has to be done within a week, and the monsters in this dungeon are only level 8. This makes it feel like success is almost impossible. Even so, Lin keeps going after his goal. He steps through the portal and right away starts summoning his skeletons. After a night of meditation, he was able to restore his spirit points enough to call forth 4 more skeletons, and he tells them to look for monsters and take them out. Soon after, he begins to get notifications about the kills made by his summons. He will need 100 kills to move up to the next level, assuming he keeps going after these low-tier monsters. And about 30 minutes into the hunt, Lin reaches level 2. With this upgrade, both his skeletons and soul blaze also go up to level 2. His level 2 skeletons now show all attributes of 125, which is due to his overall skill improvement. As time goes by, his summons go deeper into the dungeon, taking down higher level monsters that give more experience points XP. During this time, he also notices that his minions have a mapping feature, so this will be really helpful for Lin's future missions. In opportunity, however, this discovery enables him to level up once more, achieving level 3. This new level increases his summoning capacity. Lin does not hesitate, he summons 3 additional skeletons. 4 hours swiftly elapse, during which Lin receives numerous notifications indicating that his summons are efficiently dispatching the inhabitants of the dungeon. Throughout this period, he gains another level, elevating him to level 4. He ponders venturing to the dungeon at Zhejiang Suburbia upon reaching level 8. Outside the dungeon, Principal Lu and Jia's father, Xie Dongyang, are seated, engaged in conversation over refreshments. And her father elaborates on her competitive spirit and emphasizes the necessity of his presence for this significant moment in her life. They are both eager to witness the students' progress, although they know challenges await them. After a duration of 12 hours, which is quite a long time in the leveling dungeon, the students will be automatically ejected. This marks the conclusion of the first day of leveling. However, some may feel they could keep going, but the rules are clear. Although they might want to stay, they have to leave because their time is up. We return to our main character MC, who finds himself stuck in a fierce battle. He has come to the realization that his summons are limited to a range of only 500 meters from his position at this moment. These skeletons are efficiently taking down level 7 creatures, which makes him think about when he might meet a level 8 monster. Suddenly, he is hit in the torso by an unseen force. Fortunately, his damage transfer passive skill activates, redirecting the impact to one of his summons. As he lifts his gator, one of his skeletons lunges at the tree, yet it stays upright. However, after 4 hits from his minions, the tree finally falls, giving him 160 XP. Scanning the area, he realizes that there are hundreds of bullwhip trees scattered around. This discovery fills him with excitement for the XP he is about to gain. Without hesitation, he plunges into the grove of strange trees, promptly sending XP notifications to Lin. However, the trees are unusual, and this makes the experience quite different. Although he feels a bit nervous, he continues forward. But the notifications keep coming because of the unusual surroundings. After a short break, the adults outside watch and someone comes out of the portal. They realize that to get there before the 12-hour limit, one must get through the thick forest of bullwhip trees. Lin points out that he has defeated all the monsters and would have reached level 8, however. He didn't have enough enemies to fight. The principal, surprised by Lin's skill in getting to level 7 in just 10 hours, finds himself speechless. Lin then asks if he can go to Zhejiang Suburbia. Because this leveling dungeon was easy for him, the principal agrees to his request without hesitation. When he sits back down, he gets hit with tons of questions about the student who is leaving the dungeon. He explains what happened, leaving everyone shocked. While Lin waits for the rest of the 12 hours to pass, He thinks about how his summoning space is already full at 70, however. He only has 24 skeletons right now. Like, if he wants to fill those empty spots, he will need a lot of time to regain his spirit. As the remaining time draws to a close, Yiyi emerges from the dungeon brimming with confidence. She has achieved level 5, which by all accounts is a significant milestone. However, upon entering the waiting area, Yiyi notices that Lin is already there, and as her brooding persists throughout her journey home. She is consumed by her competitive spirit. She cannot fathom how she is once again trailing behind him. Once she discovers that he has successfully cleared all the level 8 monsters, only then does she begin to grasp the considerable disparity between their progress. Back at the dungeon grounds, Gao implores Lin to assist him in navigating the dungeon for the purpose of leveling up. So, wanting to avoid the awkwardness of the situation, Lin promises to help next time, although he internally, in a fit of frustration, he exclaims that he was so easily deceived. This is a hard lesson for him, because trust is important in their world. We are now transported to the Shenjie Empire Exchange, a bustling place, where Lin is thinking about whether there are any missions he wants to take on while he levels up. The first mission requires collecting green sprout grass, black wolf skin, and beast bones in exchange for gold. The second option involves raiding the level 14 domain of Yiyi Mines to find the King Goblin's core, which only drops on Nightmare or higher difficulties. Lin reflects on the differences between each level of difficulty: normal, Nightmare, and Hell. The Nightmare difficulty is much more dangerous than the normal one and usually needs a full team. However, the Hell difficulty is a whole different story. No group made up of normal professions would have any chance there. He realizes that he should probably stay away from it for now because of the huge risk involved. As Lin nears the gate to leave the city, the guard questions who in their right mind would give a level 7 permission for leaving. However, even with his questions, the guard lets Lin go, warning him about the many dangers that await beyond the wall. Once outside, Lin is shocked by the huge difference. The air is heavy with the smell of blood, and the growls of monsters fill the desert-like area. Before he's even out of sight of the city walls, a creature has already locked onto Lin as its target. Although this monster is a level 10, it's no match for the skeleton summon. This unfortunate creature doesn't realize how bad its situation is until a blow to the skeleton's head does absolutely no damage. The beast is quickly defeated. Notifications 4 in, and he understands that if things keep going like this, reaching level 15 before the final trial might not be such a big deal. Still, he wonders how his sister could get to level 16 in the same amount of time. Looking at his current stats, Lin sees that his spirit has gone up by 120 points. However, the other stats are improving at a much slower pace. Not only are all their stats at 1,500 pretty impressive in its own way, but they have also learned a skill. This skill gives a fantastic 200% increase to damage during an attack, and it has a cooldown time of 10 minutes. After noticing that he has taken out all the nearby monsters, he pulls himself out of his daydream. Just then, an arrow flies toward him, activating his passive skill. When he looks up, he locks eyes with a hooded figure, who seems too complex to be just a background character. But seeing her dressed in a revealing ninja outfit, he figures that she must be part of the assassin class. As she makes her escape, her clumsy pursuers run into Lin. They ask him if he knows which way she went. Not feeling any obligation to respond to those who have just shot him with an arrow, he tells them apologize. However, he knows they probably won't. This is because they are too proud, but he doesn't care. Although it might seem harsh, he believes it's important to stand up for himself. The archer shows his regret and also notices Lin's casual attitude about getting hit by his arrow. The group's mage makes fun of Lin for having undead summons. After all, only the most evil people usually use such. However, the archer steps in, stopping the mage's rude comments and reminding him of their main goal. As they leave, our serious protagonists think about how they would have faced serious trouble if they had decided to provoke him. Lin keeps going through the dangerous land, taking out any creature that comes his way and reaching level 10. This is when he runs into a big problem that he would have to defeat 5,000 goblins just to gain 1 level. Because of this, Lin knows he needs a new plan for leveling up, so he decides to set up a campsite for the night. His mind races with complicated calculations about his current progress. At his current speed, he would reach level 13 by the next day. However, dreams of hitting level 15 or 16 seemed more and more unlikely. Lin found himself overwhelmed with questions. How had his sister achieved such amazing things? As where could she have possibly met enough monsters? Suddenly it hit him: the Yiyi Mines dungeon. This realization explained why she came back so bruised after facing a similar challenge. She must have gone through the dungeon by herself. In the middle of his thinking, he was suddenly interrupted by the sound of footsteps getting closer. It was the new side character. She asked Lin if he had any food, and he offered her a sweet potato. She ate it in a pretty funny way and tried to flirt with him by asking for his name. Our edgy protagonist, Lin, wasn't falling for her charms, not yet, at least after all. It was November. Realizing he wasn't much of a talker, she suggested that they share their class info. As they started to connect for this finally getting a reaction from Lin, she explained that his analysis had failed because of the blocking badge she had. This badge stopped anyone who wasn't at least 10 levels higher from checking someone's info. After putting away the badge, she let him try the analysis again. In this time, he finally accessed her information successfully, discovering that her name was Ning Yiyi. He was somewhat taken aback to learn that she was at level 19, which is quite impressive. With the profession, however, he felt a strange mix of admiration and envy, because this was not an easy level to achieve. Although he had expected her to be skilled, he didn't realize just how skilled she was. Their dialogue was suddenly cut off when they both noticed that they were surrounded. Ning scoffed at the team's non-stop chase. They had been after her for several days, driven only by the wish to grab a mid-rank skill scroll from her possession. As she tries to say her goodbyes, she barely avoids an incoming arrow. Fortunately for the archer, hitting the target wasn't necessary because the arrow was just a marking one. This meant that both Lin and Ming were marked, making their invisibility useless and allowing for easier tracking. The pursuers mocked the duo, claiming they must work as a team. Ning argued against this, suggesting that she could give up the scroll in return for their freedom. However, the misguided archer rejected her offer, saying they might have thought about it yesterday, but now they were focused on bloodshed. In response, she told Lin to escape while she distracted the pursuers. Except she promised him that getting away under the cover of night would be easy for her. Nevertheless, Lin was smart enough to see through her act. Pulk said crush from Bada Hector with knots. He understood that, if that were really the case, she would have had no trouble getting away from them the day before, especially because she was now marked by the archer. Not allowing them to come up with any kind of escape plan, the mage starts an illumination spell which slowly reduces the surrounding darkness. This, in turn, makes Ning's invisibility less effective. As both groups get ready to fight, Lin calls upon one of his skeletal minions. This move is quickly met with a counter from the mage, who launches a fire attack. However, Ning grabs Lin's arm, trying to help him avoid the danger, yet the archer has already taken steps to stop any bad luck. Unfortunately, Ning's leg gets caught in ghostly strings, which makes it hard for her to move. He then goes on the offensive, shooting 3 arrows. And with no way to escape, she tries to push Lin away from the path of danger, but it's too late. Both attacks happen so quickly that avoiding them becomes impossible. Just before the upcoming battle, skeleton warriors appear, easily blocking both incoming attacks. One of these bony figures even pushes the maid, shaken in disbelief, thinks the individual was just at level 10. The other members of the chasing team feel the same way. However, before they can react, they find themselves surrounded by dark flames. To make things worse, the group realizes they are trapped by Lin's army of summoned creatures. Ning, too, is not free from this disbelief. How could his skeleton warriors stay unharmed? How could a level 10 person defeat a team of level 20s? With a spark of determination in his eyes, our main character is ready to fight. Hey guys, that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. If you're excited for the second part, leave a comment with the word part 2 and I'll make sure to bring it to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.